moving to the east. And so if you're in Union City, headed towards Mustang as well, tornado warning is on the way. And so because of that right there, this is what we were saying, treat these severe thunderstorm warnings like they are tornado warnings. And as these get closer and closer, we really begin to see the circulation there. And so there it is. Tornado warning goes all the way up to the Oklahoma Canadian County line here. So Yukon, you're in a tornado warning right now. Union City, this is just west of you, moving up to the northeast here, and it is going to be for that feature right there. So tornado warning, let's just zoom out just a little bit here. I just want to double check, make sure this doesn't cross into Oklahoma County. No, it does not appear, but it comes close. It comes right up to the county line here, but there you go, tornado warning. And so looking downstream there, that's a tornado warning developing near. That's a tornado warning near Union City. Again, tornado warning near Union City, moving to the east here, and that thing is really picking up speed there. So once again, there is Buck, El Reno. You are on the south side of El Reno. You're included in this tornado warning, but that's going to be it right there. Moving to the east, Jonathan, what do you see?
Again, maybe keep me here on the payroll there, boss. I think just called it. Hey, area circulation, very concerned about that. The couplet's getting stronger. And again, these aren't going to have the best signatures on so the other couplet we're watching, Damon, that one's going to get the tornado warning for Chickasha. So we'll have to ping pong back and forth between this one coming to the metro and the next one coming to Chickasha. So Buck is on this one, and then Michael's on the other one. But this one, right now, that's 1, 2, 3, 4 miles northwest in Union City. Mm-hmm. It's first going to come up, cross over Highway 81 there. Then it's going to come across I-40 near Yukon. So we'll have to watch this really closely. I'll do an updated storm track. And again, just really concerned about this. I'm going to start here in probably about a couple minutes. We'll probably want to start looking for a tornado debris signature.
Yeah, and so now
I don't see it now.
No, not yet, but we have 2 tornado warnings now. So this one for Canadian County, and then one down towards Grady County, down by Chickasha here on this leading edge. There's a tornado just northwest of Union City. Looking downstream, that will make a run up towards northwestern Oklahoma County. Edmond, watching it for you. Here's our other tornado warning. That does include Chickasha as well, and that's moving up northeast. Let me go out to Storm Command right now. Michael, tornado warning just issued for Chickasha here. Michael, what do you see?
Yeah, right now we do have a lot of low clouds, very strong shear with this storm. Really, the visibility is not great, Damon. You're looking back toward the area. I don't see any funnels or anything hanging down right now that would indicate visually a tornado, but you need to treat this as though it could produce a tornado at any time, because we've been watching a persistent area of rotation. I'll tell you exactly where it's going. It is coming across. It's actually going to pass just south of the South Chickasha Turnpike exit. So it's going to be coming across Highway 81 and just north of the Highway 39 19 and 6 and that intersection right there. And it is going to be moving. I think it's going to actually pass just southeast of Chickasha, but it could be coming up toward Tabler and eventually up toward Blanchard.
Yeah, very close to Chickasha here. So we're just going to go back and forth with these 2 tornado warnings. Let's go back up into Canadian County and get an update on that storm that's going to be just west of the metro. We're just going to ping pong back and forth here, but that's your tornado right there in between Union City and El Reno. There's your couplet. Not finding any debris yet up inside of this here, but we'll continue to watch it. If you are anywhere from Yukon down towards eastern Canadian County here, this is coming in your direction. This will likely stay south of El Reno. But it is moving up to the northeast here. And so let me get an update on the speed with this storm. I do 30, okay, yeah, moving at 30 miles per hour. So that's going to come up towards Yukon at 345, Lake Overholster 354, Wiley Post, Bethany right around 4 o'clock. And also there are other areas of circulations that we now see kind of popping up. Here's another one. down by Tuttle. So the bottom line is that this line, we mentioned this about an hour ago. It's going to move to the east. The southeasterly winds are going to allow this storm to start popping up more areas of spin, and that is exactly what is happening at this very moment. And so if you're anywhere from Edmond to Oklahoma City to Midwest City, Del City, Moore, Norman, just be prepared that this line is going to be spinning as it moves to the east here. And so we're going to watch for these embedded tornadoes here. Let's zoom out here just a little bit here. Show both tornado warnings at once here, Jonathan, just so we can give kind of everybody an idea as to where they're tracking. The bottom one's going to be tracking up towards Norman. The northern one is tracking up towards Yukon and Edmond here. So 2 tornado warnings right now just west of the Oklahoma City metro. We have Buck, we have Nick, we have Shane, we have Michael, watching these move to the east here at about 30 miles per hour. The rain's going to come down for a bit before these circulations come in, so they're going to be very difficult. But that right there, still watching just in between Union City and El Reno, that where it gets pulled back in. That's just south of El Reno. So if you're in downtown El Reno or north, you're okay. But this is going to make a run right towards Yukon here. Again, gonna have to watch this one as it's closing in pretty quickly. Right now, it is 3:21, so it'll be moving in the next 20 minutes or less. For those in Yukon and Yukon High School, right there, that will be your couplet. Let me check back in with Buck. Buck is looking right at this. Buck, what do you see from your vantage point?
Damon, I see a wall of rain right in front of me. I am getting some strong winds coming out of it. And almost horizontal rain, really, as I'm looking into it right now. I'm not seeing anything directly in front of me, but definitely I'm getting a lot of wind.
Yeah, and you will certainly get a lot of wind. This is a line that is just maturing as it's moving towards Oklahoma City. Look at this right here. This is why you do not want to be out right now. Just look at the rain. I mean, Buck's windshield wipers are going just about as fast as they can go, but just look at all that water that is just coming down. There's some intense rain, intense wind, and look at the visibility. I mean, it's extremely low right now. So this is what is coming into OKC. It's going to be pretty significant, and the wind is just going to be incredible with this. Again, this is warned for 70-mile-an-hour winds, and also tornado warning too, by the way. And so that is what's coming into Oklahoma County. What Bucks is showing you right now is what's coming into Oklahoma County. And it's going to come in here in the next 20 minutes. So wherever you are, again, hang tight. Don't want to be out on the road with this. Here's Banner, Yukon, Clarence E. Page Airport, just right over here, a few miles away. Jonathan keeps going back and forth, looking at debris, seeing if there's any debris up inside of this. We're not seeing that at the moment, but these can spin up real fast. And so your circulation is going to be now just about 1 mile south of I-40 here, 1 mile south of I-40, moving up to the northeast here. So it's Yukon, Surrey Hills, Northwest Expressway. Right now watching that, and wow, that Buck is right in that, Jonathan. These are going to be bouncing all over the place as they come into the metro. Not seeing debris, Jonathan, but what do you see from the radar helm?
Yeah, it's legit, pretty significant area of circulation. Now, here's the deal, some dynamics or physics about radar property. A lot of times when the radar beam is penetrating through a lot of rain, you can have lower quality of the radar beam. Doesn't matter. You have a 5 million watt radar, a C-band, S-band, it doesn't matter. Sometimes you're just pushing through all that rain. You cannot get the clearest picture. So even though when I pop over to velocity, you might think, oh, that doesn't look like much. Let's treat it like something much. Let's treat it like legit, fast moving spin ups. Now, spin up doesn't necessarily mean weak. I don't see anything in the radar column or beam that would be indicative of debris. That is really, really good. But boy, Buck is literally right there. He's within a mile of circulation there, Damon.
Yeah, he's really, really close. Let's zoom out just a bit here, show the track as it goes to the east, because even though Oklahoma City may not be in a tornado warning yet, be prepared for one to be issued here in the next little bit. Another tornado warning down by Chickasha here. And that southern one, if you're in Cleveland County, if you're Moore, Norman, Blanchard, Newcastle, this one we are watching closely for you. We're going to go back and forth. We'll go back up to Canadian County about 30 seconds. But let me check in with Storm Command here. Michael, what do you see in Grady County?
Well, one thing I've noticed is that we've went ahead and started out to get out a little bit ahead of the storm, and it seems like they may have slowed down just a little bit, maybe down to more like 30 instead of 40 or 45. So that's just, I mean, it's kind of interesting. I think the faster they move, perhaps the more likely they would produce a tornado. But I would still be very, very careful with the storm as it's passing just to the east of the Chickasha exit that's on right off the turnpike that's on the north side. Basically, there's two exits there at Chickasha. The further north one, the circulation center is passing just east of it. I don't see anything that indicates tornado in the radar data from here in Storm Command, but there are a couple of other what we call inflection points or other smaller type of rotations near Amber also. We're kind of watching all three of those. So we're moving out toward Blanchard and we're out ahead of those. If they start to produce, I'll definitely get your attention really quick. As of right now, I don't see anything imminent, but there's a reason why they issued a tornado warning.
Yeah.
And we saw it last night. It can happen really fast.
Yeah, they can come in here real fast. Okay, Michael, we'll come back to you. Michael and Nick, they're watching Cleveland County, McLean, and Grady County. Let's go back up to the north here from Tuttle, and even as you go up into Canadian County, there are some strong winds. Even if you don't have a tornado, there are some strong winds that are getting pulled into this right now. But see how, let me go back out to Buck. I mean, Buck, I imagine, how are the winds where you are right now, Buck?
Damon, they are crazy, and it's hard to see anything. I know I'm relatively close to the area of rotation we were watching, but the winds are incredible, and it feels like they're out of the south, but it's hard to tell because they are swirling just a little bit. I'm trying to use all the visual cues I can see, like the trees and street signs and things like that, to get an estimate on the wind, but it is very difficult to see out here. It's just a wall of rain that's coming down right here in front of our truck right now.
Yeah, we can definitely see. The visibility is just about as bad as it can get. And so strong winds, extremely heavy rain. This is, by the way, I-40 in Canadian County. Can't see a whole lot. Let me show you on the radar what we're looking at right here. And so that circulation is going to be just west of Banner. Here is Piedmont, kind of highlighting a couple areas right now where we're getting these little kinks in the radar. And so that is where, even if it's not a tornado, it's definitely going to be a pocket of some really strong winds. And so those are moving really fast to the east. Edmond, Oklahoma City, not in a tornado warning just quite yet. But even if a tornado warning isn't extended in, still treat this like one because of these areas that just quickly spin up right on the leading edge. And so these are moving pretty quickly to the east here, and they're going to blow in here really fast. So Yukon in the next 15 minutes, Wiley Post, 4 o'clock. Let me go back out to Buck. Buck, what's the update here?
Damon, I keep forgetting to say there are cars stopping between Highway 81 and probably 2 or 3 miles to the east of Highway 81 on both sides of the interstate. I did see 2 or 3 cars that had, it looked like hydroplaned off the road. At one point, there was a couple of people running down the highway, and it was very difficult to see them in the heavy rain. But there are cars stopping on both sides of I-40.
Yeah, and if you're going to pull off, again, you want to get off the highway here because the visibility is just so poor. And obviously, you just want to get away as far away as you can from the highway, pull off of the exit. So still watching this area, 2 areas of spin right now. Here's Piedmont. So we're about 5 to 10 miles west of Piedmont, just in between Piedmont and El Reno. There's an area of spin. Here's an area of spin right now, 2 miles north of I-40. Now that is tracking towards Edmond right now. And so we're going to watch that real closely. That if that holds together, it's Wiley Post in the next 25 minutes here. Lake Hefner at 4 o'clock. The Village at 4:07 with that couplet right there. and then another couplet. It's going to have a very similar storm track as well, storm arrival time. And so strong winds, some extremely heavy rain coming in with that. Okay, we'll come back to this in just a second. Let's go back down in the Grady County. That tornado warning was just updated just moments ago here. And so it's been trimmed down a bit. Any circulation would now be east of Chickasha. So here's Tabler, Middleburg. We're east of Chickasha here. Chickasha, your tornado risk is now moving away from you. And then also a pocket of really strong winds on top of Pecasset as well. That's what we're seeing just south of Minka with that bright blue. So all of this is blowing to the east here. So Michael, Nick, they're keeping a close eye. If you're in Grady, McLean, Cleveland County, watching this one for you. And then we have Buck and Shane right now. They're going to be up in Canadian County there watching that threat. So tracking that to Blanchard, 354. And then we get into Norman here in the next 45 minutes. So it's Goldsby, Norman, and Hollywood Corners here. Again, that couplet, not very well pronounced on radar, and none of these are going to be that tight on the radar like a big supercell. They're going to look a little different. There'll be a little kink in there, but there's going to be some strong winds. And then speaking of strong winds, we're seeing that right now over Pecasset as we speak. So definitely tracking these storms. Still moving to the east here at about 30, 35 miles per hour. They're coming into the metro, whether you're in Edmond or Cleveland County. Okay, let's go back up into Canadian County here, get an update on here. And so let's see, Jonathan, what do you see from the radar standpoint right now?
So the area of circulation that I initially saw, and then the National Weather Service issued the tornado warning, is going to be right here. So this is going to be north of the river near Banner Road. There's just a couple spots that you can cross the river there, and Banner Road is one of them. That is going to be moving northeast, and so once you get to about Britain and Piedmont Road, or Wilshire actually, that's the Clydesdale Ranch, the Express Ranch. I believe that's about right there. So the circulation is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 miles back to the west. And then there's another area of circulation. I'm just kind of watching it. This is going to be back towards Banner Road and Memorial. So that one is not nearly as strong. It's kind of what I'd say it's like on a radial, but nonetheless, kind of watching this area right here. And that would be coming into the Piedmont area. That is actually outside of the tornado warning. Now, it doesn't mean there is obviously, there's not a tornado warning for that area that I've just highlighted with that circle, but that could be an area of even winds too, or a developing area of circulation. So if you're in Piedmont right now, we're paying really close attention.
Yeah, and so let's put the whole metro in view here and click over to reflectivity, because even after this line advances to the east here, one thing we're seeing on the backside, we mentioned this earlier when the winds went to 55 and 60 out by Weatherford, is that there are going to be some strong winds behind this. So here's more to Edmond. As you go up towards Guthrie, the strongest winds that we're going to see will be right where you have this red on the radar as that is advancing to the east here. And so still watching that real closely, not finding any debris yet up inside of this. But again, these type of circulations, they kind of bounce back and forth here. Right now, highlighting it very close to Surrey Hills as it's moving to the east here. And once again, some real strong winds are going to be on the backside here as it's advancing to the east. And so here is Mitch Park, here's Edmond. We're tracking these strong winds coming up in your direction here. So that's Surrey Hills at 343. Quail Springs Mall at 404 here. Mitch Park at 417. Let's zoom back out again. Let me just, I want to see something all the way down. I want to see what's happening down in towards, yeah, here we go. Just watching this entire line here and out by Tuttle, Pecasset. Strong winds are now hitting between Mustang down towards the toll booth here. And so if you're in Moore, Norman, up towards Edmond, you're in a severe thunderstorm warning. And then inside of this severe thunderstorm warning, we're working 2 tornado warnings. One that's going to move across the northern tier of the OKC Metro. So that is Piedmont and Edmond. And then another that's going to be on the southern tier of the OKC Metro. And that's going to make a run towards Blanchard and eventually towards Norman right now. More, we'll see if this is out. We'll see if any warnings will be issued for you. Let me go out to Shane Helton in Mustang right now. Shane, real quick, what are you seeing from your vantage point?
Damon, we can see the area where that little notch was at. It's a little bit of a lowering, but not very much. It pretty much looks like it's trying to die off. Hopefully it is. We're going to keep a real close eye on it for a while, but as of right now, it's not really creating a great red or anything like that. So we are on top of it. We're right here next to it. We can see it. We know exactly where it's at, but it's not doing anything as of right now. Damon, back to you.
Yeah, definitely see what you're talking about there. So we'll come back to you, Shane, here in just a moment. So watching these line of strong winds advance up to the northeast. And so let's see here, right very close to Sundance Airport in Surrey Hills, right along the Northwest Expressway, Highway 3 there as you make your way just south of Piedmont. And so there's an area that we were watching. Again, we're just on the west side of the turnpike here as you make your way up towards Highway 3. So that's another area of enhanced winds, rotation right now. It's going to be in the northern tier of this tornado warning polygon. Not yet coming into Oklahoma City. We'll see if it is extended, but if that holds together, that would make its way up towards the Sundance Airport any moment now. And then Quail Springs Mall, right around 4 o'clock. And again, that inflection right there in the radar. Okay, we're going to come back to this in just a second. Let's go back down to the southern one, get an update real quick. Michael, we're just going back and forth. So give us a quick update. What do you see from your line here that's advancing into Grady County, McLean, and Cleveland County here, Michael?
Yeah, I haven't seen any additional enhancement. There's still what we call a convergence line where winds are coming together all along the leading edge, right near, just to the east of Tabler, moving up toward Blanchard. We're just on the northeast side of Blanchard. As a matter of fact, for those of you who live in the Blanchard area, you know where that water tower is at. So we are looking southwest across Blanchard for any circulations that do come into this area. The one I'm still watching, Damon, is mainly east of Tabler, and that's going to come up potentially toward Cole, Goldsby, Noble, Norman area. We're on it. We're ready to bring you updates if we see anything. Back to you.
Yeah, we'll be continuing to talk to both you and Nick. And so Blanchard, you are still in this tornado warning. And so this advances into town at 3:54. Cole coming in at 4 o'clock. And then we get into Norman at about 4 to 4:20 or so with that area of spin. A lot of rain, by the way, intense rain too, that's going to pick up pretty quickly. It's not going to last that long as it advances to the east, but it will be pretty intense for sure, and definitely will be, the visibility will be low enough. It'll be hard to see. 3:45 is when this tornado warning is set to expire. We'll see if additional tornado warnings are going to be issued or if we're going to continue with the severe thunderstorm warning and a tornado tag. Still watching right now between Yukon, Wiley Post. Let's go out the Buck right now. Buck, watching these storms advancing into eastern Canadian County. Buck, what are you seeing?
Yeah, Damon, the areas of circulation are just a little bit to my northeast. I've gotten out of the heavy rain, so I have a good visual. I'm not seeing any lowerings coming down. Actually, just a little bit of wind also at this point, so I'm probably still out in front of the line a couple of miles, but it's coming this direction towards the Sundance Airport, Piedmont, Deer Creek areas need to be up for this as it comes into those areas. Back to you.
Okay, yeah, definitely. We'll be watching that one close. Let me show you the big picture right now because we just had, by the way, tornado warning that was issued that is going to be coming up to Sulphur and Davis as well. So 3 tornado warnings ongoing. If you're in Sulphur, Davis, we are watching this for you. It's going to be on this leading edge here just west of Ardmore. We'll come back to this. Let's go back up into the OKC Metro here, get an update on this line of storms that's advancing to the east here. They're now getting ready to cross out of Canadian County, come into western Oklahoma County. The rain is beginning to fall here. This tornado warning goes until, I believe this one goes until 3:45 as well. And so that's for about another 7 minutes or so. Buck is right in it, still looking for areas of enhanced wind. Right now, Jonathan highlighting Piedmont very closely. Jonathan, what stands out to you and what you're seeing on the radar right now?
Yeah, that's on the south side of Piedmont. So that's Piedmont Road called Highway 4. And then the main, well, not main east-west, but there's a couple main blacktops that come into the east side of Piedmont. So I'd say Northwest 164th, Northwest 178th from Highway 4 east towards Sarah Road. So there's some developments in there. You have Coyote Run, you have East Wind 2, and the area of circulation there is just going to be, well, I've highlighted it right there. Now, the circulation is not as strong as it was before, and it is outside of the tornado warning, which is good. But if I had to highlight an area that I was concerned about that would be rotating, it'd be that right there. On a scale 1 to 5, it's 1.5 to 2, and it's not increasing, but that's where it would be. So besides, we'll have to watch it as it kind of goes into crosses county line, as it comes into the Deer Creek area, West Edmond, and see what that does. A lot of times these things can change pretty quickly. Again, I don't see any debris. The circulation is not as strong as when we identified it way back to the southwest, down near El Reno, but that's where it would be right now.
Yeah, and so looking at the big picture right now, there has been, from a wind standpoint, inside of these storms, there has been a bit of a decrease. You heard Shane mention it just moments ago as this line is advancing to the east. It is still severe. Earlier, we were looking at 70-mile-an-hour winds, but I'm not seeing the really bright colors on the radar like we saw even 15 to 30 minutes ago down by Pecasset when we were seeing some strong winds. Now, we're still going to get severe winds, about 55 to 60 miles per hour, so we'll be keeping a close eye on that. And also, El Reno, the rain hasn't even been falling for an hour yet, and they've already picked up over 1 inch of rain. So the downpours in this complex here is going to be quite high, and so this is going to push. On top of the 6 to 8 inches of rain that fell yesterday, this is going to push it even more so. So tracking to the east, Bethany 343, OCCC 347, and then we get to Mercy Hospital and Westmore High School here in Cleveland County, right around 352. That's going to be in the next 10 minutes. This is still moving pretty quickly to the east here. The tornado couplets don't look nearly as well pronounced as what we saw even just a few moments ago. These tornado warnings are set to expire in the next 4 minutes, 3:45. We'll see if they're going to be reissued or not. Now, from a heavy rain standpoint, again, the rain, it is going to be coming down, and it is going to be heavy. We see it right now from basically Middleburg, Blanchard, all the way up into Piedmont. And so these are rain totals just in the last 6 hours here, but really this is just in the last hour. You can see a strip here that runs from Gracemont to El Reno up in towards Okarche. We've already picked up over 1.5 inches of rain. That is a lot. And so you take that on top of the rain that fell yesterday and early this morning. We mentioned on Friday that there was going to be a strip where about anywhere between 6 to 10 inches of rain was going to be recorded, and it's happening because we still have another batch of storms to come in here early tomorrow morning as the system finally pulls away from here. Hey, Jonathan, while you have these Doppler radar estimates up, can you do 2 day? I'm just curious to see how much rain has fallen here in 2 days. I mean, look at this right here. 7.5 inches rain down by Anadarko. Oh no, there you go, 2 day. 9 inches of rain there by Anadarko. What's Piedmont looking at here? I feel like Jonathan, your rain gauge was overflowing this morning, so I know you have to have over 6 inches in here probably, right?
Yeah, so mine overflowed and the gauging stopped at 5, and you could estimate, okay, that's about 6, and that makes sense. Again, one thing with Doppler radar, estimated rainfall, it can be contaminated when you have large hail in there. We didn't have a lot of large hail, so I'd say, and even the technology has gotten better with dual pole technology, so I would say these values are fairly accurate, that there's a widespread swath of 6, 7. I can kind of like cherry pick and find higher values that you can see across south central Canadian County, El Reno, Highway 81 South, there's maybe 7 to 8 inches of rain. I mean, let's put this in perspective. The average, and our weather's never average, but when it comes to climatology, the average rainfall for Will Rogers World Airport for November is 2.11 inches of rain. And Canadian County literally picked up, 3 to 4 months worth of rain in about 24 to 36 hours.
And if you want to extend that even farther, Jonathan, there are going to be some areas in the OKC metro that if we did not pick up any rain at all between now and the end of March, we would still be considered wetter than normal, which is just wild that we're picking up that much rain. So, okay, good news report. This tornado warning will be allowed to expire. Both of them are going to be allowed to expire. They're being replaced with severe thunderstorm warnings. So going to be looking out for enhanced wind potential up inside of these here. So let me get the latest on both the northern fringe and down to the southern fringe. These are going to be for winds. The northern side, 60 miles per hour. Southern side here will still have winds up to 70 miles per hour. So right now, strong winds, they're blowing into OKC. And as you go down towards Cleveland County here, strong pocket of winds finding it right there southwest of Blanchard as that is moving up to the northeast. Again, the Weather Service will let this tornado warning drop in the next 5 seconds. So it'll take a second to fall off the computer here. But again, replacing them with severe thunderstorm warning. So Riverwind Casino at 411. OU, Sooner Mall, Norman here, basically 415 to 420, and then advancing up to the northeast. We have Nick and we have Storm Command watching these storms advancing to the east here. And once again, quite a bit of heavy rain on the way here. So we're going to be watching this one real closely as it moves up to the northeast here and making its run up in towards eventually Cleveland County here. So once again, severe thunderstorm warnings have been allowed to, or the tornado warnings have fallen off across the metro. We're still watching though down towards Sulphur right now. Sulphur, you're not in a tornado warning, but we're going to be watching that one for you there. For the OKC Metro, it is still this line of storms coming in from Crescent to Guthrie and then coming down into OKC here. Hail size is not too concerning. The winds are going to pick up, so here momentarily as these storms are now moving east of Piedmont, getting ready to come into northwestern Oklahoma County, coming into Logan County as well. So Deer Creek High School, that's in the next few minutes. Oak Tree National Edmond here, about 410. Guthrie at 421. What do you need to know about this? So it's 60-mile-an-hour winds. We're still looking for these embedded circulations that will be on the leading edge of this as this advances up towards eventually the Guthrie area. Some real heavy rain too, by the way. This batch of rain that you see right now from Guthrie extending all the way out towards Okarche has already dropped over 1 inch of rain in a very short amount of time in the out in the El Reno Mesonet there is technically looking at 1.1 inches of rain. That is a lot of rain. This type of rain that's coming into OKC right now, this will be enough that it's going to definitely slow things down. Anyone that's out traveling right now. Let me go out to Shane Helton here. Shane is going to be just west of Will Rogers World Airport, out by Western Heights High School. Shane, heavy rain continues to move in. What are you seeing from your vantage point here, Shane?
You know, you talk about that heavy rain. What's amazing is that I'm following all these vehicles, and they splash the highway. You know, they splash all the water off the highway, and it comes right back just instantly because the rain from time to time is so heavy. Now, we're still kind of following that little area that we was following earlier. It's not really much to talk about, but we are definitely keeping up with it. But it's right now, right here on the north side of the airport, the rain's not as heavy as it has been, but it still can be pretty heavy from time to time. So we've seen a lot of vehicles that have already hydroplaned and things like that. So if you have to get out and drive, hey, make sure you slow down. We always try to encourage everybody to slow down for the road conditions, and please turn on your headlights. If you got a dark vehicle, sometimes you can't see it when there's clouds. Damon, back to you.
Yeah, we're watching it closely here, and so the heavy rain coming in. OKC, we're going to come back to this in just a second. Jonathan, let's go real quick. Just want to give an update down by Sulphur and the tornado warning that we have here. Now, Sulphur, you're not in the tornado warning yet. We're still watching this line advancing up to the northeast here. And so Davis, Sulphur, any rotation is going to be just west of Ardmore, moving up to the northeast. Again, Davis, Sulphur, you're not in a tornado warning yet. You're in a severe thunderstorm warning right now, but we are watching that. It's advancing up to the northeast at about 30 miles per hour. So we are going to be watching that one as it continues to make its way out of Lone Grove and up towards Turner Falls and over the Arbuckles. Okay, let's go back up to here in the OKC Metro. This line is definitely still showing some areas of kind of inflow up, whether it's up near Cashin or even by Piedmont. And while these are not tornado warnings, the same line has been producing these little areas of inflow right along the leading edge. There can be some strong winds up inside of that. So we're still watching these areas closely. See that kink right there in the radar? That is going to be in Oklahoma County here, just north of Sundance Airport. That's east of Piedmont. Let's go out the Buck right now. Buck, give us an update on what you're seeing.
Yeah, Damon, I've got a small truck here that has hit one of the light poles at North Mustang Road and Northwest Expressway. Looks like they probably hydroplaned a little bit. And, Damon, there's not a whole lot of water on the road right in this area, but there is enough that would cause a vehicle to do this. So I can't imagine what it's going to look like here in 20, 30 minutes when this heavy rain comes through here and on into the Oklahoma City area. We could see a lot of this. Back to you.
Yeah, definitely. You bring in more rain in here, especially all the rain we've had lately. Roads are getting slick. Still looking at a pocket of really strong winds that are coming in here. This warning that we have for the OKC Metro is for now 60-mile-an-hour winds. And there is at least right near Gaillardia on the north side here, all the way down, basically down to State Fair Park. Jonathan's highlighting where the winds are going to be picking up in some intensity here. And so that's moving to the east at about 30 miles per hour. And so at this current track, it's going to be the Village at 351, Town of Britain here as you go towards Santa Fe High School between 3:55 and 4 o'clock. That's all in the next 10 minutes. Downtown Edmond at 4:05 here. Jonathan, let's zoom on out here, kind of show the whole metro, because this line extends from basically Guthrie all the way down as you make way west of Wayne here. So this is a big line that's advancing to the east. It's not that wide, so it's not going to last that long. Weatherford, Elk City, you're done with the storms for now. More coming for you tonight. But basically, we're just watching this entire line here run from Logan County, from Guthrie to OKC, all the way down towards Lindsay and west of Norman, moving to the east. We're not dealing with tornado warnings like we were earlier, but we're still going to watch it closely for these brief spin ups. And basically, this is spin by spin, scan by scan that we got to watch here for either these brief tornadoes or even, these pockets of strong winds here. Let's go down. Let's check in. Let's see here. Let me go. Where's Nick and Storm Command? I want to get an update. I think they're down in Cleveland County, I do believe. Okay, so there's Nick down by the Riverwind. We'll talk to Nick right after talk to Mike. Let me go out to Mike right now in Blanchard. Michael, what do you see in Storm Command?
Yeah, so that leading edge of that line that's, again, prompted the initial tornado warning that came through the Chickasha area is just moving through Blanchard. You can see it very well there with the water tower, and then you can see the low clouds and how they're just streaming. They're not racing as fast as kind of what the storms were last night, as the low-level jet was really cranking up last night. I don't see as much shear with this visually as what we saw last night. That may be one reason why these storms are struggling a little bit more. Thankfully, they're not. We haven't seen any tornadoes in central Oklahoma. We had the one that was down west of Lawton earlier, but certainly there's still some movement along this leading edge as it's moving over Blanchard. So we'll track it as it moves over toward Goldsby and I-35. Back to you.
Yeah, and we like to hear that the storms are struggling, because that was not the case about 12 hours ago. These storms are still packing, quite a punch here. And again, we're looking down to the south. This is OCCC. It's shielded in rain. Okay, let's go back over to the radar right now here as this is advancing towards Cleveland County, Norman, up to Moore. Heavy rain coming in for you. Let me go out to Nick Smith here. Nick, tracking this line of heavy rain and also strong winds coming in. What do you see from where you are here, Nick?
Yeah, Damon. So we are we're right across from the Riverwind right now. We pulled off over at the Loves that's right here, and we're just watching it as it gets closer to us. One thing that I have noticed, Damon, there's a lot of people out just driving around, and I know Sunday, there's things to do and everything, but with the risk that there is of these brief spin up tornadoes. If you have some friends or family that's out driving around, you might just let them know that with this line that's coming in, there is still that risk that it is going on. If people are at home watching right now and you have a kid or a loved one that's out there, you might let them know, because just as fast as they spun up last night, it just still just cause a cause for concern just to watch that. Back to you.
It definitely is, and there's definitely just this, kind of we're on edge right now because of what we had earlier this morning in that tornado that struck southeast Oklahoma City, I-240 and Sooner Road, rated an EF3. So heavy rain, and one is moving into Cleveland County here. One thing that I've noticed in the last couple of scans here is that even the winds behind this are not nearly as strong as they were when we were watching these at about 70 mile per hour wind gusts behind it. They've come down to about 60, which is still strong, so we're still going to have to watch it. But I would say the impacts from these storms as they move in, they're not going to last that long, probably nothing longer than 30 minutes. You're still going to get a good amount of rain here, and another 1 inch of rain likely with this as it moves up to the north here. So west side of Moore, down towards Newcastle, and as we go into Blanchard. Okay, let's go back up into Oklahoma County here, get an update with these storms as they are advancing up towards Edmond here. They're noisy. It's a narrow swath of some pretty strong winds, around 60 miles per hour, not much hail. Don't see a hail threat in this, but from Oak Tree to Mitch Park, as you go down towards the village here, and just north of Lake Hefner, we're watching this line here advance to the east, still moving at about 30 miles per hour. So that's going to not last that long, but it's also going to make a run up into Lincoln County here. So it's downtown Oklahoma City right about now. Santa Fe to Moore at about 4 o'clock, so within 5 minutes here. Santa Fe High School to Moore, that is. Let's see, go down to Del City at 4:03, Oak Tree National, same thing, and downtown Edmond at 4:03 as well. What I see with these storms now setting up is mainly going to be a pocket of some powerful winds, around 60 miles per hour, and some real heavy rain here. As far as the winds behind it, again, not that strong. They're still going to be strong enough, especially as you go down towards around the Amber and Blanchard area. Those may be actually beginning to increase just a little bit. We'll be watching that as well. Jonathan still looking for these little areas of spin on the leading edge, and then even some stronger winds behind it. What do you see from the radar helm here, Jonathan?
Yeah, just little circles on radar, never a good thing. I'm just highlighting where I see some areas of circulation. There's no correlation in how big the circle is to how strong the circulation is, but there are two areas that I've identified. One's going to be, I suppose about 178th in Portland, so that's going to be just kind of West Edmond, East Deer Creek, I suppose just north on Portland where they're putting in that new Chick-fil-A. And then if you keep on going up on Highway 74 all the way up towards Cashin and Cimarron City, there's another area of circulation. So what does this mean? We have a tornado watch. I don't know if Logan County was included in that. No, they're not. But nonetheless, we have a tornado watch for Oklahoma City, thunderstorm warnings, and they're highly sheared environments. So on like scale 1 to 5, I give those little circles like a 1 out of 5, but we'll have to watch if they trend up because we know, they can change very quickly, but just kind of watching that. Again, there's a whole line. The severe thunderstorm warning goes literally from Marshall all the way down to almost Pauls Valley, and then you have that tornado warning down near Ardmore, which is, we'll see if it makes it all the way to Sulphur.
And I feel like just scan by scan, there has been a slow decrease in these storms that have been coming over the OKC Metro. They're still severe, but just looking at the trend here is that there has been a bit of a small decrease. Now, the rain is still going to come down. It's going to be quite heavy, too, by the way, as this is blowing up to the northeast. You're going to get the rain. Langston, Guthrie, Stillwater, and eventually going in towards Cushing. This entire line is advancing in your direction. Heavy rain coming into Moore right now as well. Jonathan, we'll come back into the OKC Metro here in just a moment. Let's go quickly down to the tornado warning that you were just mentioning down to the south. For those that are going to be up in the Davis, Sulphur area, these storms are blowing up to the northeast here. And so while Davis and Sulphur, you're not in a tornado warning here, the warning does come up to Turner Falls here, and as you make your way down by Gene Autry and as you go towards Ardmore. So definitely some rotation with this storm down in the Ardmore area. Still watching it closely for you that are going to be down and towards Carter County, but it does appear that at least We did see a pretty well-pronounced couplet there about 30 minutes ago on the radar. It's not nearly as evident on the radar as what we saw earlier, which means hopefully this too would be on a downward trend, but we're still watching it closely for you as you make your way down towards Falls Creek Assembly, 418, Turner Falls at 419. With that, again, Sulphur, Davis, not in a tornado warning, but we'll come back to this and let you know what's headed your way. We can definitely tell you there's some extremely heavy rain coming in your direction. This storm will definitely have it. Okay, let's go back into the OKC metro here. The band of the heaviest rain is quite narrow. It basically runs now just west of I-35 from Edmond through downtown Oklahoma City, coming in on the west side of Moore, and then even coming down into Norman. Let's go down, speaking of Norman, let's go down to where field meteorologist Michael Armstrong, Storm Command located, as well as Nick Smith, give an update for those wanting to know what this storm is doing as it's coming into Cleveland County. Michael, looks like a small decrease in the storm trend here. What do you see, though, from Storm Command?
Yeah, I agree with that. Now, there is a circulation. It's weak, but it is a few miles northeast of Blanchard, straight south of Highway 9 and the 62 junction. But it is weak, and I'm not expecting it to strengthen at this point based on what we've been seeing. Damon, one thing that's been very interesting is a lot of dry air coming in behind this storm. We've seen the moisture, the dew points drop anywhere from like 8 to 10 degrees in a huge area over Chickasha and back to the west. We didn't see that last night with the storms that moved through that produced the tornadoes. So this is definitely a different scenario than what we saw last night with more of like a supercell tornadoes versus kind of some of these embedded type of circulations that we're seeing more of today. But it looks like the instability is kind of taking a hit. It's not nearly as unstable here across the metro area, which is, I think it's helping limit the risk at least a little bit. Still concerned about some pockets of strong winds, though.
And we're watching that, and with this entire line moving to the east. So the tornado warning, by the way, down in Carter County will be allowed to expire. So that update just came in just moments ago from the Weather Service here. So the big picture, again, for Sulphur, Davis, that tornado warning was dropped. You're still getting the heavy rain coming in, but at this moment, at 4 o'clock on this Sunday afternoon, we're tornado warning free. Does not mean that we can't see additional tornado warnings issued, but we are getting at least some heavy rain that's blowing into OKC right now. Not nearly as big of a complex as what we saw even a little while ago, which means that hopefully that can keep the flooding threat to a minimum because we've already picked up a lot of rain. I just checked my rain gauge in Moore, pushing about 4.5 inches of rain since yesterday afternoon. And this line right here coming in will probably drop another 1/2 inch to 1 inch of rain, which will push more over 5 inches of rain. There are areas west of the metro that have exceeded 6 to 8 inches of rain, and we're still not done with the rain because we have more on the way tonight or into tomorrow morning here. So heavy rain continues here. This warning goes until 4:15. Right now, for those, if you're watching in, say, Lincoln County, Pottawatomie County, Seminole County, I know last night was a bit concerning for us as these storms came in. The good news for you was that these storms are on a bit of a downward trend, so let's hope it can stay that way, but we're going to have to continue to watch it scan by scan. So here we are in Moore, up to Will Rogers World Airport, downtown Oklahoma City, tracking this to the east, coming into Moore right about now. Moore High School down to Highland East at 4:07. We go to the Riverwind Casino there at 4:10, and then Turtle Lake, and these are going to be some Sooner Elementary School, by the way. That was an area that was the neighborhood area that got hit by the EF3 early this morning, a little over 12 hours ago. So I know they're doing cleanup. The rain's now beginning to fall, but just a heads up for those that are doing storm debris cleanup, whether you're in southeast Oklahoma City or out by Hera, these storms are coming in. You're going to have to wrap it up here for a bit here as we're watching this. The overall tornado threat is not particularly high, as you heard Jonathan mention, but we're still watching it. Again, these are still severe storms inside of a tornado watch here. And so you heard Michael mention the dry air that's coming in behind it, which is something that we did not have early this morning. Let me go out to Nick Smith here, who's going to be down in McLean County right now. Nick, it wasn't that long ago, Nick, you were tracking supercells and tornado warnings. Here it looks like it's some heavy rain now coming in to Cleveland County here, but we've had a lot of rain lately. Nick, what are you seeing right now from your vantage point?
Yeah, I was just thinking that would have been a great thing, if we hadn't had all this rain that's already come through. But hey, we'll take it. Right now we are just getting on I-35 northbound. We're going to go from Highway 9 west to Highway 9 east. Sorry for the camera's time to spin around a little bit with it. I hope I'm not making you sick. But we are just trying to keep eye on that leading edge of this rain, though, this storm that's coming in. It does have some little. On the front edge of it, some little appendages.
Okay, and again, Nick is down there, down by the Riverwind Casino there, construction zone with these storms coming in. And in Cleveland County yesterday, there were a lot of areas that typically flood. More to Norman, water is quite high, so we still may be dealing with some creeks that are still running pretty high right now. And so this may bring in yet a few more detours for this Sunday afternoon here. While the tornado risk is not particularly high across central Oklahoma, it is still a concern as we go down to the south with those storms that are going to be blowing through Pontotoc County eventually. There are no tornado warnings yet, but we're still going to have to watch it over the next 1 to 2 hours here with these storms moving in. Let me go out to Shane Helton right now. Shane here in Oklahoma City, still watching these storms coming through here right now. Shane, it's been a long 2 days here, but Shane, what do you see from your vantage point?
Well, we're watching an area that it's not really showing a whole lot there on the radar, but when you know what you're kind of looking at, and you're interpreting the radar, you can see this cloud feature that we're showing right now on the screen. This is an absolutely amazing little cloud feature. It had a little bit, kind of almost looked like a funnel. It had real slow rotation. It was nothing that we were too majorly concerned about, but we're still watching it, keep an eye on it, and watching this as it moves off towards the northeast through town here. And we'll keep up with it for a while and see what it does. Right now, it doesn't look like it's going to do very much, but it's something that we can keep an eye on and pay close attention to. Damon, back to you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and a couple things that we are watching for the short term too, by the way, is that while the tornado risk is not high here, we are going to be watching it still across southern Oklahoma, because eventually there's a chance that couplet that's down by, or that tornado warning that was at once in effect, no longer in effect, down by Ardmore, may be reissued again in the next hour or so. They could be approaching those in far southern Seminole County and going into Hughes County. So we'll be watching that. As of right now, though, for the OKC Metro, it's a pocket of strong winds. This warning is set to expire in the next 10 minutes. We will see if it is going to be reissued or not here. So from Guthrie all the way down to Sulphur's, basically I-35 right now, that has all the storms running from almost from Perry to Stillwater. Stillwater, you're getting some heavy rain coming in right now. Perry as well. That is coming out of a severe thunderstorm warning for 60-mile-an-hour winds. So we'll watch that for you as that's advancing up to the northeast here. Rain across Oklahoma County, Cleveland County, down towards Alex. And then this was at one point a tornado warning down by Ardmore. That warning was dropped, but as these storms advance up to the northeast and make a run across Pontotoc County, there's a chance that the tornado potential may increase as these storms make a run towards Holdenville and Hughes County. If that were to occur, that would be in the next 1 hour or so with the speed that they are going. And let me just double check real quick on the speed, but we will be watching it. This says here the sirens are sounding in Cole. Let's go over the Cole real quick here. And let's see what's happening here in Cole, just jumping around here. There are a pocket of winds coming into Cole right now. Let me go out to Storm Command, get an update. Michael, apparently the sirens are sounding in Cole. What do you see right now from your vantage point in Storm Command, Michael?
Well, I don't really see anything like back to our west that would indicate a tornado. But that's why we call them storm sirens, not tornado sirens also. They're outdoor warning sirens for anybody who's outdoors. So that's something to remember. One thing we are not seeing as much of, Damon, is lightning. It really looks like the instability has really gone down quite a bit. I mean, there really is not a whole lot of lightning with these storms, even less than what we had last night for a while. So visibility still kind of going down. Look at some of the cloud cover there. I mean, it's very low, so we have a lot of moisture in the atmosphere, and you can tell with the heavy rain, people are starting to turn on their flashers as they're driving up and down I-35, and so still be careful with the heavy rain threat. And I'm not saying there's not some heavy thunderstorms down near Cole or further down south toward Lindsay, and we're headed down toward Purcell, but it just, there's nothing that looks particularly striking to me right now.
And likewise, and we just got an update, by the way, is that the plan is to let this severe thunderstorm warning expire here in the next 5 minutes. So if you're watching in Shawnee or up towards Lincoln County, this warning will be allowed to expire. And you're right, the lightning counter and the lightning strikes are really coming down. So that is good. That's wonderful to see here. Let's zoom on out here. So this entire, and this is a big severe thunderstorm warning too, by the way. This is going to be dropped, and the Weather Service will replace it with what we call a strong thunderstorm alert. So for Shawnee up to Prague and Chandler, what's coming in your direction, a complex of rain that will have winds gusting as high as about 45 to 50 miles per hour here. Otherwise, still watching these storms up by Guthrie. This warning drops in 20 minutes. We'll see if that's going to be extended or not up towards Stillwater. Langston, Cushing, you're getting the heavy rain right now, and it's coming down. Absolutely, I know. I mean, this is some blinding rain, and so in this warning right here is for 60 mile per hour winds. So tracking that up to the northeast. It's 414 in Guthrie, Langston 437, Stillwater at the top of the hour here at about 5 o'clock. All of these communities listed right here down to OSU. What do you need to know? Heavy rain on the way. We'll see if these pockets of winds up to 60 miles per hour can continue. Not much of a hail threat. If there's any hail inside of this, it would be pea-size, if even that. So good news there. We're still getting the rain on the way here. Still watching this pocket of, or this complex of just heavy rain that now basically runs all the way from Ponca City to Enid, Stillwater to Guthrie, Oklahoma City to Moore, Norman, all the way down to the Red River. I mean, this is a really big complex here that runs from north down to south. By the way, we did have a severe thunderstorm warning up here in Alva. That's going to be allowed to expire as well in the next 4 minutes. There was a core of some strong winds that went right through Alva, and now that's headed up towards Kansas. Jonathan, it really looks like, these storms, for the most part, they may have tapped out, except for the far southern line here. But these storms look like they're going the way that we want to see them go, and that is losing intensity. What stands out to you right now there, Jonathan?
You're 100% right. These hit at a little different time than they did, earlier this morning. I mean, real early this morning. So between 1, 2, and 3 this morning, a completely different setup. Now, we did have higher low-level wind shear, but the jet stream was much stronger between 1 and 3 in the morning. That's why we had those couplets, those areas of circulation, the tornadoes. That's why they were so much stronger. And also because the way this is kind of lined up, and I may have said that earlier, but at about 2 o'clock maybe, I said, hey, the storms down south might cut off the inflow to the OKC storm. So imagine the storm complex down near Ardmore kind of like robbed the OKC storms of inflow and instability. So basically these storms here kind of cut off the storms starved, the storms in OKC. That is excellent. So that means tornado risk going down, winds going down, duration of precipitation, that derivative is going down. So even though we've had a lot of rain, maybe we won't get those flash flood warnings. I wouldn't be surprised if we get like flood statements and flood advisories just because there will be ponding on the roadways and such, and maybe some minor flooding. I don't know if we're going to get a full-fledged flash flood warning with the rain that we have in there right now. But for OKC, this is definitely a downward trend. Now, Damon, that being said, kind of on the side, been looking at some data for tomorrow. I know I'm going to be in here tomorrow morning, getting everybody ready for the work week. I don't like the setup for tomorrow. Tomorrow, the third day of severe weather, to me, looks very significant, where we'll have higher instability, strong shear, strong jet stream, and that low-level jet kicks in a little bit earlier. Obviously, we can get through the next couple of hours, get through this evening. There's so many opportunities to get the updated forecast this evening. But again, tomorrow morning newscast starts at 4:30, and it'll have the updated tornado index and timing. But I think tomorrow is going to be a pretty big day for Oklahoma with our final wave of storms. Now, I say final wave, there's also going to be storms tonight, probably after midnight to 3 a.m., and those could have another risk of severe weather. So we're not done.
No, we're definitely not done, and you're right. As we look in towards tomorrow morning and then even into early tomorrow afternoon, that'll be the final wave. And so we'll have to watch that one really, really closely as the whole storm system will finally move through here. We know we've needed the rain. A week ago, it was fire danger. Then it was severe weather. And so we needed the moisture. And so we're getting it. And so, and the rain is heavy right now across Cleveland County, down in towards McLean County, and then going down to the south. This warning here will be dropping off in the next 10 seconds. And so the OKC Metro will be severe warning free, and they're going to let this warning up here as well expire too. Now, if you're living in Stillwater, you're still going to get some gusty winds on the way in with this, but you can see that warning just dropped off here just moments ago. And let's see here. I believe this warning, let me just double check real quick. I was just looking at this a second ago, but I believe this warning is set to expire. Okay, the northern one goes until 4:30, so for another 15 minutes. But we are going to get some strong winds coming up into the Stillwater area here. It's running right up and down I-35. Right now looking at winds around 45, 50 miles per hour, but that tracks into Stillwater. In the next, right now it's down by Guthrie. So that comes in the Stillwater in the next 30, 45 minutes. So it's Coyle at 4:33, Stillwater 5 o'clock here, Ripley at 5:07. So Stillwater, you're gonna get some heavy rain on the way as that moves up to the northeast. I keep stepping off here. I'm looking at a bunch of different things. Wind gusts have not been that particularly high, which is good. Rain totals, 1 hour rain totals right now are mainly pushing around half an inch, isolated up to 1 inch. So that will lead to some minor ponding on the roadways, but given that it's been a couple hours since we picked up, the 4 or 5 inches of rain, half an inch of rain should not be enough to trigger a flash flood warning. We'll watch it here, but definitely doesn't look like we'll be seeing flash flood warnings being issued. So finding a pocket of gusty winds there on the north side of Guthrie as that is tracking up towards Langston right now with that storm right on top of I-35 here. There's Buck. Let me go out to Buck right now. Buck is just south of Guthrie. Heavy rain continues, Buck, here across Logan County. Storm headed up towards Stillwater. Buck, what do you see from where you are?
Yeah, Damon, I'm getting some strong winds out of the west. It's kind of pushing my truck a little bit. The rain is heavy, but it's not nearly as heavy as what we had seen earlier today. But it is causing some issues, as you can imagine, with it building up on the highway. And every once in a while, you'll hit a spot that it kind of grabs your tires and reminds you that there's water on the roadway. But we have a good visual view of the sky, not seeing anything concerning there. Just some rain and just the winds out of the west that are hitting the truck. Back to you.
Yeah, and you're right there, Buck. I don't see anything too concerning where you are. As far as I would say the worst storm in the state right now, let's go down to the south here, down towards Davis and Sulphur. And so severe thunderstorm warning for 70-mile-per-hour winds. It also has a tornado tag in here. The worst of the storm is actually going to be southeast of Sulphur as you make your way down by Mill Creek, headed up towards Tishmingo and Pontotoc. At that current track, that storm, we'll see if it can make its way. It will probably make a run up in towards eventually Hughes County here. It is tracking kind of up to the northeast here, so we'll see if it can make its way into Hughes County, or if it stays down towards Stonewall and make its way and tracks closer towards McAllister. But this is for sure the strongest storm that we see in the state right now. It's a severe thunderstorm warning. There was a tornado warning on this, about 20 minutes ago, that was allowed to drop, but doesn't mean that one cannot spin back up. Let me check in with Storm Command, Michael Armstrong. Michael, right now it looks like the strongest storm in the state is the one that's going to be across southern Oklahoma. We'll have to watch the track of this one here really closely here. Michael, what do you see from Storm Command?
One thing I'm noticing, we're down on the south side of Purcell right now, Damon, and there's a little area of shear that's east of Washington, south of Noble, and west of Slaughterville. It's actually right almost on top of I-35, just to the northwest of Purcell. It's embedded in the rain. It's not really very strong, but there seems to be a core of wind right here near Purcell, just to the west of town, and that may be associated with more of a potentially a strengthening low-level jet as we get closer to sunset. But that's the only area that I'm seeing that is really showing that right now. Most of this area is pretty tame right now. There's really heavy rain, and we are getting some bright lightning flashes occasionally from cloud-to-ground lightning. But all in all, the severe weather threat looks, at least for right in the moment, and over the next few minutes, the severe weather threat is somewhat low right now with this cluster of storms. There's just so much rain, man. It is really coming down over a large area.
Central Oklahoma, and that runs from I-35 Ponca City to Guthrie, Oklahoma City, down to Wynnewood, Pauls Valley, southern Oklahoma as well. There is a lot of rain that is coming down, and there's a lot of rain that has come down as well over the last 24 hours. I mean, we're seeing lots of 5-inch plus rain totals already. Doppler radar estimates that are exceeding 8 inches of rain in some spots out by I-44 west of the metro. Jonathan, we're looking at this little area right here down by Lexington. It's not a tornado warning, but still, we're just watching for these little pockets where you see some enhanced winds coming in. Jonathan, what stands out to you right now just west of Slaughterville?
Yeah, that's going to cross I-35 just west of Lexington and Purcell there. Michael's right there, a couple miles away from it. That is not, there's no warning there, but I've highlighted the area of circulation, put a storm track on there for you. Again, things can change very quickly. I'm showing you the velocity, so let's switch over to the reflectivity. Notice that's embedded in a large shield of rain. That's actually a pretty good thing, but we'll see what happens. Again, we can get these embedded circulations, but good news, we are a severe thunderstorm warning clear in a tornado watch for OKC, Norman, and places south. The next storm is this larger storm, which is going to be down from Sulphur, Davis, Mill Creek, Tishomingo, Reagan, and then places south. And on the back side of that, there's also a flash flood warning. Okay, and then as we go to the north, there's also the lingering severe thunderstorm warning for Logan County, and that one will actually expire here in about 8 minutes. So we'll see what happens with that one. I actually think that the worst of that storm has outrun the thunderstorm warning. Yeah. So we'll see if the National Weather Service will trigger a new warning downstream for Payne County.
And so looking at the big picture right now, too, by the way, here, and Jonathan, actually, if you can, let's just zoom out, show the statewide view, and I'll kind of carry looking at, if you're living in Pottawatomie or Seminole County, what do you need to know right now? So you have rain coming in. I would say the worst storms that are now in the state are going to be down across far southern Oklahoma, and there's a lot of activity that is now bubbling up in North Texas that's going to cross over Texoma and go into southeastern Oklahoma. This is really going to set to be the more concerning spot over the next couple of hours going into southeastern Oklahoma from Atoka up towards McAllister, where I could certainly see an increase in tornado threat with this cluster right here that's going to stay most likely outside of the KOCO5 viewing area. But just looking over the next few hours, if I'm anywhere from Ada to McAllister and then down the Antlers here, this is going to be a spot that is probably going to see quite a bit of a severe weather increase. And so that's going to be across southeastern Oklahoma. New warning was just issued. The northern fringe does barely clip Hughes County here. Otherwise, it's down towards Stonewall, and it should make its way down towards Texoma. Let me get the latest on this. This is going to be for 60-mile-per-hour winds. Let's see here if there's a tornado tag added to this one or not. I don't see that. Flash flood warning, by the way, coming out for Logan and Payne County. That is going to include Stillwater and Guthrie. So that is new, by the way. Just brand new flash flood warning coming out just moments ago. And you can see there is for that line that really would not be that big of a deal if it were any other day. But because this is an area that has already picked up 4 or 5 inches of rain in the last 24 hours, some of these can get triggered pretty easily. And so the latest information, this flash flood warning now goes until 7:30 for an additional 1 to 2 inches of rain to fall across basically Guthrie up to Mulhall, Stillwater, and Payne County. So that is the newest warning that came out, and so did not trigger a severe thunderstorm warning, but we did trigger a flash flood warning here, and easy to see why. In a short amount of time, 1 to 2 inches of rain has fallen. You can also see out by Kingfisher down towards Okarche, quite a bit of rain. Jonathan, actually, let's look at the storm total. I'm really curious to know some of these Doppler radar estimates and just how much rain has fallen since yesterday, not only here, but also as we go into the OKC metro and down to the southwest. But you can see Guthrie, Langston, Mulhall, up towards Stillwater, 6-7 inches of rain, 7.5 inches of rain down by the El Reno area, 8 inches of rain across Oklahoma County. 4 to 6 inches of rain has fallen, and we're seeing kind of swaths here, but that zone of just really heavy rain, that's really running from Logan, Canadian County, and going into Grady County. Here's a lot of rain. And then here's a strip too, by the way, that runs from Moore down towards Dibble here. So yeah, I mean, look at these numbers here. 8.5 inches of rain. McLean County here, 6-7 inches of rain. Wow, I mean, that is a lot of rain. Also seen that from Shawnee down towards Tribby as well. Let me go down towards, let me go back out to Storm Command here, down in Lexington. Michael, the good news is that the severe weather threat is diminished, but we're still getting some areas of heavy rain in here. Michael, what stands out to you from Storm Command?
Well, just noticing a little bit of an uptick in the lightning count with this complex near Noble and Norman. Seems like it's picked up a little bit. It doesn't. I'm not suggesting that it's severe right now, but it just seems like it's increased a little bit compared to what it was just a little bit ago. And then also one other thing I'm noticing is that complex down south still seems like it's the most organized, even further south and east in Pauls Valley. Like there's a huge thunderstorm warning that goes from Roth. It includes Ada and Stonewall and Tishomingo and all the way down into Durant. So that to me on radar really jumps out as being the area that probably stands the greatest risk of seeing any sort of severe weather to develop. The back edge, by the way, of the rain is almost to come into Oklahoma County from El Reno and Yukon. So it's about to stop raining for at least a while. But Damon, as we look at the data and look into tomorrow morning, kind of unnerving again because of the timing of it. But as we get into 6 a.m., 7 a.m., we could see another line of pretty rough storms coming in tomorrow morning. So just so people know, like, we can't really turn our back on this completely yet. The whole storm system has not moved through yet, but it will begin doing that tomorrow morning into early tomorrow afternoon.
One final push of rain that will be coming in as we go into tomorrow. And just looking at the risk for tomorrow, the tornado risk really ramps up, especially as we go into eastern Oklahoma. One thing that may actually save us just a little bit is that these storms are going to come in very early now. That doesn't mean that we're not going to see a tornado risk. We are still absolutely going to have a tornado threat tomorrow across central Oklahoma, but this will be an early morning setup where you're going to be watching KOCO 5 News in the morning, and we'll be seeing storms going up way out to the west, and then as they come into central Oklahoma, the shear begins to pick up, and that's where the tornado risk will begin to pick up as well. Still finding the heaviest rain right now falling across Cleveland County, so eastern sides of Cleveland County, east of Sooner Road, so we're east of Moore, out by Draper, Norman, Thunderbird, some heavy rain falling over Thunderbird right now. As far as lightning goes, there's lightning up inside of this. It's not particularly high, but there are a few, strikes that are happening right now. We can see them here. Jonathan looking at the winds inside of these. They're not that strong right now, not that high. So still watching this area of rain. If you're watching in Pottawatomie or Seminole County, you will get some heavy rain that will be coming in. Doesn't look like the overall severe weather threat is going to be that big of a concern as it comes in. The rain that's falling right now on top of you in Shawnee is going to help bring down the instability, and even same thing out towards Seminole, because the rain's going to come in well before the heaviest stuff begins to move, and that's going to be on the backside. Again, the strongest storm that we see right now in the state is going to be down to the south here, down by Tishmingo. That is has triggered a severe thunderstorm warning that barely comes into southern Hughes County here. And so this current track moving up to the northeast here, Pontotoc 433, and then will make its way east of Calvin well before 5 o'clock. I mean, this storm is going to be, or by 5 o'clock or so, this could be really racing pretty quickly up into eastern Oklahoma and western Oklahoma. Things are dry. You heard Michael mention before the clearing lines coming out of coming into western Oklahoma County. This warning is set to drop off here in about the next 15 seconds or go. It goes until 4:30, I believe. As far as what we're watching right now for Stillwater, some heavy rain coming in. Same thing from Langston, right across the Cimarron River. And as you go into Payne County here, and so Cushing, you're getting some light rain in here. We'll see the rain intensity pick up a bit. Stillwater, the rain's picking up. You can definitely see that now with the brighter colors on the radar. So heavy rain on the way for you in Stillwater. It's not going to last that long, but you're likely going to probably pick up, a quick 1 inch, a half an inch to 1 inch of rain or so. And there you go. You can see that warning just fell off the radar there just seconds ago. And so now, the only severe warnings that we currently have in play are going to be across far southeastern Oklahoma, with the exception of that flash flood warning that we do have ongoing right now for those that are going to be in Payne County. Let's see here. Continuing to watch these storms coming in here. Nothing too particularly concerning right now, other than some heavy rain across Norman. No tornado warnings in the state right now. We do have, again, some strong storms that are happening down in southern Oklahoma. Down by Slaughterville, we are seeing at least an area of some heavy rain from Noble, Slaughterville, up towards Norman and OU, as that is advancing to the east here. But now it's basically I-35. If you're west of I-35, the rain will likely be wrapping up here if you're from Oklahoma City up to north in the next 30, 45 minutes. It's going to continue a bit longer as you go down towards Pauls Valley. Jonathan highlighting an area, a little bit of spin there, nothing too strong, but we're watching it right now between Noble and Slaughterville. What stands out to you right there?
Yeah, just as Michael identified earlier, a little uptick in lightning. Reflectivity's up a little bit. That's from Slaughterville up towards about the Noble area. Michael's on the south side of it. Nick Smith is on the north side of it. So our chasers have that area surrounded. Now, is it an area of concern like, hey, this is going to produce a tornado? No, I don't think so. But we'll have to watch it. We're still, it's kind of early this time of day now that the low-level jet stream winds can come in, and they can really, it's kind of like if you had a fire and you go and it's struggling, you have a little fire that's trying, and you blow on it, you add air to it, it flares up. Imagine that would be the case. We have these little baby storms or areas of circulation, and when a low-level jet comes in, it kind of feeds those storms and really makes them a little bit taller and a little bit stronger. So we'll have to watch that. Again, if scale 1 to 5, I'd give it a 1 right now. And just have to watch it trend up. It's embedded in a tornado watch, but it doesn't have a thunderstorm warning with it. And so we'll have to watch it. Weird things can happen across Oklahoma. It doesn't matter if it's May or if it's November. We can't have, this little secondary. And why do we have this secondary severe weather season? Because you have the lingering summer heat and Gulf moisture very close to Oklahoma. And with the uneven heating across the northern latitudes, it's really cold up north. And that big temperature gradient, you get a very, really strong jet stream. And it's the combination of that lingering summer heat, the occurring fall to winter jet stream, those two shake hands, and then you get that severe weather. until that conveyor belt or that jet streak moves out, we will continue to have flare-ups of severe weather. And again, that will happen later tonight. There's a chance for severe weather. And then I'm a little bit concerned from almost 10 a.m. tomorrow till about 3 or 4 p.m. There's a window there that will have a repeat, but I think the jet stream is stronger than what we're seeing today, so we got to get ready for that.
And so, update, even though the rain is slowly wrapping up here across the metro, the Weather Service will be issuing a flood advisory. That's the low end of a flood warning, if you want to look at it like that, mainly just for creeks and ditches. And so, and that flood advisory is coming out here momentarily, and that will go until 7:30. So for about another 3 hours or so. El Reno out towards Minco, the rain's wrapping up for you. The heaviest rain that we see right now in the OKC metro will be now moving into eastern Cleveland County, out towards Choctaw, Jones, and then up towards Stillwater. And so again, a flood advisory. Let me see if that one just came out or not. It looks like they're in the process of issuing that as we speak, but still continuing to watch this area of rain that's now moving east of I-35. Again, the severe weather threat has really come down. I don't expect that we're going to see any more severe thunderstorm warnings for OKC here, but here is that flood advisory that does run from Edmond all the way down towards Norman. Let me check in with Nick Smith right now. Nick, if you're available, want to reach out to Nick. Nick, still watching this area of heavy rain right now that's making its way across eastern Cleveland County. Just issued a flood advisory here, Nick. What do you see?
Yeah, Damon, we were just talking about how hard it had been raining. It just started letting up, and we're actually getting a look back into where there is, I mean, like you've been talking about, there's just a little bit of area, like a little couplet, little area back there that we're watching, and I'm not super concerned with it, but after everything that happened and how fast it happened last night. Our guard is definitely not down. So we're just continuing to watch back to right now we're on Highway 9. I think we have 80th Street no, it's 108th in front of us. Just in front of us, we're at 108th. For people that live out here by the lake, where the Valero is, and we are just watching back to our southwest, just that little area where there's a little bit of spin, but nothing to be too concerned about. But as we continue to watch it, we'll kind of keep you up to date on what's going on. Highway 9 itself looks like it's draining pretty well. So if you know anybody that's you got to get out here. It's draining pretty good. I don't see much water going across the road or anything like that. But, man, when it was coming down a few minutes ago, it was just flat out just pouring straight down. It was hard to see if you're going down the road. Back to you.
I mean, and the rain is coming down, and while it may be fall, I think we're now rolling into mud season here in Oklahoma because of how much rain has fallen just in the last 24 hours. You heard Jonathan mention earlier, we have more on the way for early tomorrow here. So our soil is very, very saturated right now. If you have, by the way, if you have a sprinkler system, go ahead and just turn it off for the rest of the season, or the rest of the year. I mean, our soil is so wet, and because of the low sun angle that we now have, I mean, the low sun angle, it's in 1 month, basically our lowest sun angle of the entire year. The soil is going to stay very saturated for a while because of all of this. I mean, this is going to soak deep. It's going to fill up the lakes. The lakes are going to be full. Everything's going to be all right here when it comes to our soil moisture, whether you're in western, central, or eastern Oklahoma. Always say this, it takes a flood to get out of a drought. And so what has been helping us out is that while these rain totals have been really impressive, 6 to 8, 9 inches of rain, we've been putting some space in between these storm complexes here, where yesterday we had the rain, then we had a couple hours where it didn't rain, and then we had the soaking rain, then we had a couple hours where it settled down. Now the rain is back. Now we're about to roll into a bit of a drier period, and then we'll pick the rain back up again here. So we're doing okay here. And while we do have the flood watch and we do have these flood warnings that are being issued, we're still doing all right. Still watching this area here, northeast of Noble, southeast of OU, just an area that of all of the segments, all of the wind pockets that we see on this leading edge here, where the rain is definitely a bit heavier, this one still just has a little spin. It's not that tight, but it is there. Jonathan's highlighted it, and Nick is looking right into it right now as this is moving to the east here, moving up to the east, northeast. And so we'll continue to watch that. It is all part of this line that we've been tracking for a while. You can see it kind of bends back just a little bit, just south of Lake Thunderbird here, and just right along Highway 9 here as it moves up to the east. Nothing that is screaming, like an imminent tornado threat, but we'll watch it as it spins up to the northeast here. So it's over Lake Thunderbird at 449, Pink at 506, Bethel Acres 527, Dale 528, and then we're going into Shawnee at 530. While the severe thunderstorm warnings have been dropped, still doesn't mean that we can't see one reissued again should this feature continue to spin up to the east northeast here. And so as of right now, our tornado watch that was issued earlier this afternoon is still set to expire at 8 o'clock. By the way, right now it's 4:40. Sunset is going to be now in the 5 o'clock hour. This will be very early. This will be one of those evenings where it's going to feel like it's midnight and it's only 7 o'clock. It always happens the first time we deal with this. But we are losing a lot of daylight. What we're not losing, though, is the amount of shear for these storms to really, kind of take off as they go, especially in the southeastern Oklahoma. And so that will be one area that we are going to have to watch as we go into the next couple of hours here. As I show you the big picture, the severe thunderstorm warnings that we have ongoing right now are going to be mainly confined down into southeastern Oklahoma, where you can see these new warnings are being issued south of Holdenville, down by Ada. This is going to be the hot spot here. The rain's not too particularly heavy over central Oklahoma and over the OKC metro, but we are in a sensitive spot right now where it doesn't really take a whole lot of rain for us to see these creeks come up and the streams to come up as well. And so we'll be watching that, even though the rain is going to be wrapping up here in the next 30 minutes or so, I would say, across the OKC metro, up towards Guthrie, all the way up in towards Ponca City as well. We are still watching the rain come down up in northern Oklahoma. Ponca City, you're good. Again, got some nice rain coming in. Newkirk, Medford, up towards Ponca City. Not having to worry too much about anything too crazy there. We don't have any severe thunderstorm warnings or watches up in northern Oklahoma. But for the metro, we're still keeping a close eye east of I-35 for at least some areas of some moderate rain. We're going to continue to watch this real closely. Keep it with KOCO 5 News. We'll bring you the first alert.